Welcome back to the County News Podcast from the National Association of Counties. I'm Nicole, and I'm here with Charlie.
Hello.
And we are celebrating National County Government Month, which is an extraordinary opportunity to recognize the role of county government, to educate folks around the role of county government. Tell us a little bit more about it, Charlie.
Well, every April since 1991, county governments have been celebrating National County Government Month by promoting the role they play in serving the residents. It's a chance to highlight effective or innovative county programs, raise public awareness of the services they provide to their communities, and invite residents to become involved in their local governments.
To be honest, it's a chance for folks who are often so humble to make sure people know about what they're doing. It's so important that the broad role of county government is known by the residents. And the great thing that NACo is trying to provide here is a variety of tools to do that, right? So community engagement comes in many forms. We have a lot of audiences, and just, all of these are on our website. But to highlight a few of the ways that folks can leverage these tools during National County Government Month, we have a lot of tools developed in partnership with iCivics, which was an initiative of the late Justice Sandra Day O'Connor. Those tools include tools for middle school kids, a high school curriculum, an activity book for younger children, but most importantly to me, the County's Work online game, which I played. I have to tell you, I played it on my first day at NACo.
What was your county's name?
I can't remember, but my score was very, very good. I knew that I had a future here because I loved this game and I did really well at it. And I'll tell you what, getting to get into the game and play the role of a county leader and make budget decisions, and you're being asked to make a new dog park or to fund an arena or to approach elections in a different way, and having to see just the variety of issues county leaders face, it hits you differently when you're playing the role yourself. So highly recommend that tool. And just to highlight a couple of the other tools that folks have available to them during National County Government Month, the County Government Primer, just released at the National Association of Counties Legislative Conference in February, is a great tool for getting to know the basics of how county government works. We also have Governing on the Ground, which is our first book released last year, an inside look at the complex challenges faced by county officials. And it's a chance for 30 different officials to talk briefly about different issues, show how the issues are interconnected, and often talk about the story of how they got into County Government Month, which is a great message for folks to be hearing during National County Government Month. I will plug just one more, which is The Marvelous Adventures of Countyland, a new book that we also released at the Legislative Conference. It is an AI exploratory publication, so it was written in collaboration with AI tools. And what's neat about it is, for one thing, folks will get a lot of attention talking about this book right now because AI is such a hot topic, but also the fact that this was written in collaboration with AI is a conversation starter. You can learn about the role of county government and also have a meaningful conversation about how AI can and can't help in the work of county governments.
One of the interesting approaches that was part of the Marvelous Adventures in Countyland was the pedagogical mechanisms for helping craft the language in a way that resonates with children's learning processes. It was very interesting to hear why AI wrote it the way it did in certain ways that have been proven to enhance comprehension among children.
We definitely have to make sure at some point we get NACo's CEO and Executive Director Matt Chase on the podcast to talk about that book. It's a really cool new project this year. But in the meanwhile, National County Government Month each year takes on a little bit of flavor from the presidential spotlight. And this year, President McGuire chose ForwardTogether as the spotlight. It's got these pillars: connect, inspire, and lead. And I know you had a chance to talk to her a little bit more. Would love to hear what we're going to hear in that interview with President McGuire.
President McGuire is very proud of the work she's been doing with ForwardTogether, particularly in terms of building bridges among county officials, building bridges across the political spectrum, and her thrill at being able to talk about this is palpable. So here we go. National County Government Month is a great opportunity to talk about what counties do, the reasons counties matter, and the role counties play in Americans' everyday lives. This year we'll be celebrating National County Government Month through your presidential theme, ForwardTogether.
Every month is County Government Month at NACo.
Yes.
But we do get to celebrate specifically in April for County Government Month and really help our counties in the country highlight the things that counties do, and for NACo, the things that NACo can help counties with. And so my theme of ForwardTogether really goes along with all of the things that counties do. Mm-hmm. So it's to move forward together, meaning we are stronger when we do things together. We have 3,069 counties in this country, and we can do better work together. We connect, inspire, and lead. And so connect and build bridges, inspire engagement, and lead on intergovernmental partnerships. And County Government Month can really help highlight each one of those, and especially the one where we inspire engagement.
Exactly.
Because we want to engage our members in the work that we do at NACo, and we want to inspire our residents to be involved in the work that counties do. So that's where county government is a perfect way to highlight the things that we are all working on together.
You've had a pretty ambitious travel schedule over the last 8 months, but it's given you a chance to meet with officials from counties, parishes, and boroughs. How have you seen county government at work across the country?
People don't always call them counties. They call them parishes, boroughs, and county commissioners are sometimes judges, and they are supervisors, and they are different titles that we all have. But we all do generally the same work, which is regional government. We do public health, public safety, parks, roads, libraries, and elections. And so it's all so important for the work that government can do. And what you do learn by visiting all these different state associations is that generally county government really gets the work done. We are the level that has to implement whatever policies the federal and state levels of government want. And so we are the ones that really need to push through any differences that we might have and push through anything that might divide us. And there's a lot of divisions in this country. But what's inspiring to me about counties is that we work together and we need to get the work done. We can't let differences get in the way of that. And so I'm very inspired when I visit counties throughout the country that they're all trying to work together.
You have a pretty cool background after serving in both the Minnesota House and Senate. It's given you a chance to see county government from different angles. But how has that shown you how intergovernmental partnerships work?
Yes, because when you're in other levels of government, you don't always think about the other levels of government. So when you're in the state legislature, you're basically focused on your big policy, and then you hand it down to the other levels, the local levels, and hope that they get the work done. You don't always give them the resources to do it, which is what we're finding now. It is how we really need to impress upon our other levels of government that we are intergovernmental partners, that we are not just lobbying for our own resources. If the federal and state government wants us to carry out their policies, they need to give us the resources to do it. So I think that's been a surprise to me, is just how much we need to keep educating and working with our other levels of government. I mean, it's a surprise, and it's not a surprise that we have new people that are getting elected all the time. So we really just have to keep up the connecting and the working with those levels, because we can't do our work alone.
Tell me about the 3 pillars of your Forward Together theme: connect, inspire, and lead. When you connect, you're focused on building bridges to advance excellence and networks in county government.
In Minnesota, we actually have a very deliberate effort to build bridges and to really bring in a person like Bill Doherty, who has an organization called Braver Angels. And there's ways that you bring in people that have different views on things, and you get them to talk to each other, you get them to learn from each other, and not necessarily agree, but at least understand each other. And so those kind of connections are things that I think we do at NACo all the time, just by bringing people together, by having them learn from each other. People know that I carry around a timer with me, an egg timer, and that symbolizes, by giving everyone a voice at the table, by giving everyone time to speak, that everyone has a voice, every voice matters, and the importance of listening. So by making sure that we do hear from everyone, and these are ways that we can build bridges.
When you inspire, you're focused on driving community engagement and residents' trust in county government. How have you seen counties engage and inspire residents?
Thanks so much for asking that, because it is crucial. It's fundamental to the work that we do, is to really engage our communities in our work and to really meet them where they're at. Not to just hold a meeting at a certain time in a certain place, and then whoever shows up, okay, fine, and then that's it. We really are there's so many more ways that we're doing outreach, and that we're advocating of doing outreach to meet people where they're at, different hours in the day, doing them on Zoom. I mean, we're getting a lot more participation that way, because then people don't have childcare issues, they don't have transportation issues, but we do it in a number of different ways. And so I think counties throughout the country are being innovative and creative about how they're reaching people and how they're working with them on the things that they want to hear from their residents. And I think what's really important, and counties are understanding this more, is that we don't go to our residents and say, here's the plan, what do you think? We say, help us design the plan. We don't want to come in when it's all done and then ask their opinion.
Yeah.
We want them to help us create it. And I think that's what NACo really helps people see the importance of doing that.
When you lead, you're focused on spearheading local, state, federal, and tribal intergovernmental partnerships and common sense policy solutions. What's an example of a common sense policy that's gaining traction?
By having that input, we learn so much from all of our counties, and that's why we've been so successful at the federal level then, is when we say we need direct funds and we need it flexible, because we know by talking to our residents what really helps us. You know, you can't have one size fits all in some of these programs and in some of these funding levels. You know, we know our residents the best. And so when the federal government, you know, provides resources, give us the flexibility to do it the way our residents need. And it's different throughout the country. So that whole process of working with our residents is crucial to the work that we're doing.
What successes have you seen as a result of these advocacy strategies?
I would just say, when I introduced the president the other day, he says, how are we doing for counties? And I said, well, Mr. President, the work that you've been doing with the American Rescue Plan dollars has been transformative because it was flexible and direct. And I think the federal government before and state government, all too often, they are too prescriptive. You know, they provide resources in a certain way for a certain type, and they don't take into account how individually each county can better address their residents' needs. And so I would say that we are just getting better at telling our story that way. And that when we can express, you know, that we want to be accountable, we want to be transparent, we want them to know how we're using the resources, but we want to do it in a way that's specific to our communities. And I think that that's been unique in the time that I've been working with NACo, and in these recent you know, infusion of resources that we've seen, that they're understanding that now. And I give NACo all the credit for that, and our members all the credit for that, that we're really letting our intergovernmental partners understand this, and that's just the way that it's best for our residents.
Speaking of our intergovernmental partners, at the legislative conference, we heard from Representative Mark Molinaro, a former county executive, and he advised county officials that when they talk to their federal representatives, they should personalize how policies and trends affect them.
Absolutely, and I think that NACo's been so great at asking us for our stories. And, you know, it's those examples that really can, you know, lead to even, you know, to continued investment in our communities. I know when I talked to our Congresswoman, Betty McCollum, from Minnesota, you know, she wants stories. She does. She says, give me examples. This is where we can really, you know, help direct the resources is by knowing how it's really being used. And NACo is really helpful in sharing those stories. And I think all of us counties during County Government Month, you know, it would be a good effort for all of us to think of the stories that we do know in our own communities and make sure that we share them with NACo so that NACo can share them with our elected officials at the federal level. Of course, we want to do it at the state level as well. But I think it's a great reminder during County Government Month that we tell those stories to our partners.
So what does Ramsey County have planned for National County Government Month?
We've got it on our board agenda for April now, that we're going to, of course, have a proclamation. And then each week of county government, and we meet weekly at our board meetings, we're going to highlight part of what counties do using NACo resources. Like we're going to use the Why Counties Matter. We're going to do some iCivics demonstration. And we're going to let our public know, all of our residents, you know, how they can access these resources as well. Because these are really interesting ways that they can learn what counties do, but also the ways that we can help them with the issues that they care about.
That was such an awesome conversation, Charlie, and you're right, you can really feel President McGuire's passion for this. If folks are looking for the toolkit to support their National County Government Month work, they can find that on our website, along with all of those tools we were talking about at the top of the podcast, and a webpage about ForwardTogether if they want to learn more about the presidential spotlight. So lots of resources folks can take from here. I think the bottom line, though, is let your passion for county government shine through. There are so many ways to do this, right? There are the folks who will do a proclamation. President McGuire mentioned iCivics demos and stuff like that, but there are folks who do open houses. There are ways to recognize the county workforce. We hope that folks will let us know what they do during National County Government Month, and we're very excited to celebrate it alongside counties, boroughs, and parishes across America.
I look at it as a good launching point. You start these efforts to bring people into county government, and you don't have to stop just because it turns to May, so keep the good times going.
It's true. This month and every month, we're grateful for county government.